Vince McMahon vs. Roger Ailes. Who is in a bigger trap? You've all heard the news that Vince McMahon has officially stepped down as WWE General Manager and Chairman. This happened because of another high-profile scandal involving misconduct against girls. This situation directly affects Fox Entertainment Group, which cooperates closely with WWE. It will be very interesting to hear their statement on this. By the way, earlier in 2016, the company that owns Fox News bade farewell to Roger Ailes, who has involved in a similar sordid tale. But how similar are these scandals, and what will the consequences be for Vince himself, who has already lost his position in WWE? While many believe McMahon left voluntarily, I am sure he was forced to leave, and there were valid reasons for that. So what is common between these two situations? The answer is obvious: everything. What's more, they are not just similar, they are nearly identical. Everyone knows that at Fox News, Roger Ailes was the lead and personally handled the selection of news anchors. He could change the fate of any girl who walked into his office seeking a prestigious job. But sometimes Ailes used his position to achieve other goals, which was the reason for his later dismissal. Although Roger and his representatives denied the charges, many of the girls who signed non-disclosure agreements subsequently spoke publicly about their version of the incident. If we're talking about Vince McMahon, the only thing different about his case is the amount of fuss surrounding his retirement from WWE, and the number of women accusing him. Judge for yourself. According to their statements, Vince as well as Roger Ailes took advantage of his position. You also have to consider the nature of his job and the fact that there aren't that many positions for female wrestlers in WWE. There are far fewer girls out there than men, and it's much harder for them to get through. In some cases, it was Vince who could determine their future careers. It is quite possible that he may have wished to have an affair with any of them in exchange for a good job and their promotion in the world of professional wrestling. This is a truly bad situation for Vince McMahon, as this kind of behavior has been taken very seriously in recent years. Speaking of which, Vince's lawyer also publicly denies all the accusations. I also can't help but mention the Sable situation. She played a major role in the development of women's wrestling in the late 90s. In 1999, she left WWF and sought the company, claiming sexual harassment and unsafe working conditions. As you know, Vince McMahon's name did not appear in the lawsuit. The amount Sable demanded was $110 million, but then both sides hushed it up without waiting for the court's decision, and the girl received compensation, the amount of which has never been made public. For some reason, this situation led me to some analogies of what is happening now. I mean, the names of the victims mentioned in the McMahon investigation were never voiced. Coincidence? Perhaps, but at the same time, McMahon countersued trying to take away Sable's right to use her stage name. Later, the WWE stars were banned to mention her on the air at all. I'm afraid to imagine how much McMahon hated her, but why? And now you will probably say to me, hey, but what are the similarities between this situation and the Roger Ailes case? And I'll answer that they are very similar. Just think of how many girls have been fired from Fox News for one reason or another. They were also paid compensation in exchange for their silence. And then afterwards, everything was done to make sure that they were forgotten very quickly. The girls could not even try to get jobs within other companies because Roger was a very powerful man and could ruin the careers of any of them with just a few phone calls. I won't venture to state whether Vince McMahon is guilty or not. But the only thing that is undeniable is the fact that his termination now is definitely not caused by tiredness due to his busy schedule. How do you think what the future holds for Vince? And should we expect things to get worse? Share your opinion in the comments and watch more clips about Vince and his retirement on our channel.